Hey, it's Johar. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be talking about Cobra Kai. I watched it for the first time several months ago. Never did talk about it. Always meant to, but things have been hectic. Um, so I'm going to talk about it. Uh, I binged it all in a few days with my mom, who's already seen it all. And I never actually got into the Karate King movies. Like I've seen like bits and pieces that my mom would watch. Um, But even my mom, like she would watch them sometimes, like she liked the movies, but she didn't love them. But she loves Cobra Kai, um, and she'll watch that a lot more these days. But I could never get into Karate Kid, so for the longest time I never planned on watching Cobra Kai. And I'm not gonna lie, I did watch because I liked Tanner Buchanan, and I am now starting to like Peyton List. Like I could care, I hate the show Jessie, and so for the longest time I could only really see her from Jessie and Bunked. But I like School Spirits that she's in, and I like this that she's in. So she's starting to really get out there, and I'm starting to really like her acting. And uh, so yeah, I was a little surprised that she didn't come up to season 2, and she was. It was like a few episodes into season 2, which surprised me just because um, I don't know. I heard a lot about her, so I just figured she was always on, but apparently not. Um, but I'm not gonna lie when I say my favorite character is Robby. I am obsessed with him. He Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with him. I love him so much. He is just such a sweetheart, and he's been through so much, but he still has a heart of gold. But my favorite ship is Robby and Tori. They're so good together, and they have this mutual like respect and trust I don't think Sam and Miguel really have. Like a scene I absolutely love is the scene when they're fighting at prom, and Robby and Tori are just so in sync, and Sam and Miguel just so aren't. Like, I don't hate Sam and Miguel as characters or as a ship, but I don't care that much about them. But Robby and Tori, they're great. They are so. They're just so. They're great characters. They're so complex. That's the word I was looking for. They're complex. And they've both been through so much that and I and yet they care more than maybe anybody else, if you ask me. Um, and I just want to throw out, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but I did, and I told my mom because it's true. Um, both of the huge, rival things that happened with Robin Miguel and Sam and Tori, first of all, were based off of misunderstandings, and then it was also started by Sam and Miguel. Okay, Miguel hated Robby because he was hanging around with Sam. Like Robby did nothing, and yet he should have just talked. Like honestly, he should have just talked and figured things out. Like, and even if they were, dating or whatever, which they were not. Sam didn't even start really seeing Robby like that until after her and Miguel broke up. Um, they it still wouldn't necessarily be Robby's fault. Sam would be the cheater. It would be one thing if Robby knew that she had a boyfriend, which at first he didn't know, but then he after he found out that she had a boyfriend, he respected that and stuff. Which and Miguel just hated Robby from then point on. Like their entire rivalry was because of Miguel. And then with Sam and Tori, Sam, first of all, only disliked Tori because she was jealous that she was hanging out with her friend, which is kind of bogus considering she snubbed her friend to be popular, and then she was mad that her friend wasn't exactly still wanting to be her friend, and that she wanted, I can't remember her name, she was only the first 2 seasons, but how she was now hanging out with this new girl, and then she blamed her, and because she stole one thing, she just assumed she stole her mom's wallet, and like that entire rivalry started with Sam. So I just had to point that out. Like Robby and Tori, like were the innocent parties. I'm sorry, but they were. Um, but I want to talk about Robby's Cobra Kai era because one thing I absolutely love is the fact that no, he wasn't really that manipulated in Cobra Kai like everybody else. Like everyone was so afraid to speak up to Kreese or Silver, but he wasn't. Like there were several times where he would stand up, like when they said made a comment about him when he I think it was when he was fighting Kenny at the tournament, and Silver made a comment about how he's not your friend, he's your opponent right now or something like that. And then he was like, "You want to fight him?" Like he stepped up to him. He's like, "I'm not gonna take that." And what I find hilarious is that Kreese needed Robby, okay, more so than he ever needed anybody, even Silver, because Robby was their only chance at defeating Miyagi-Do, because he was the only person that knew how to fight like Miyagi-Do that was now in Cobra Kai. And he was so angry. It was wrong for him to do that, but he was so angry at both Johnny and Daniel, and his anger at Johnny was 110% justified. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. And so he, Kreese knew that they needed Robby. So he was letting Robby talk to him like that. Like he would never stand up to Robby or anything because he. But what kills me is that Robby also knew that. Like the entire time, if you pay attention, Robby's technically kind of manipulating through them. Like because he right now doesn't feel like he has anyone, so he's staying there. But he will leave in an instant if he has to. Um, he wasn't brainwashed like everybody else was really. Um, and Robby knew that Kreese needed him, which is why he wasn't afraid to stand up to him, which is why, and I mean, like, Silver even, when Silver took over and he is big on, like, paying his way through everything. He paid, he was trying to do that with Robby, and Robby accepted it to make Silver think it was working, but in reality, he could care less about Silver. Like, he he was just really the true manipulator, and I don't think anyone ever realized that. Like, Robby does not get enough credit for everything he did. The only time, this is the only time he truly actually let Cobra Kai get into his head was when he fought Kenny, and then he um won, and won by hurting him. And then with his fights with Hawk, I don't think he necessarily let them get into his head. I think he was just angry at Hawk. Um, because the two of them have, not that great of a past either. Um, and he wanted to be Hawk. But yeah, so I think the fight with Kenny was the only time he actually let them get into his head, and right afterwards, he left Cobra Kai. After the tournament, he was done. He left just like that. Most people, even when they start realizing what they're doing is wrong, they don't have the will to leave because they're already too invested. It takes something serious to get them to finally leave. Um, like a Hawk. Um, you could start telling that he wasn't actually into this, that he actually didn't think any of this was a good idea, that this and that. Uh, but then at the house fight when Cobra Kai was winning and they were hurting Miyagi-Do, and then he started hearing like everything that people have been telling him, and then he realized it and he switched sides. And Tori, she found out the truth about her winning, and then she started feeling bad, but she still felt like she couldn't actually leave. Things that got really bad in Cobra Kai at that point, she felt like she couldn't actually leave. Um, until things got extremely bad, and then she felt like she had to finally come forward to Sam. Um, so I just think that he never really got manipulated. I mean, but he's not the only one. I mean, he's the main one that I think he's the only one that was in as deep and still didn't get manipulated, because the other two characters I'm about to mention, like they weren't in there that long and they were able to leave not with too much trouble. Um, like that girl that I can't remember her name. She wasn't on that long. That Tori was trying to mentor, and then she ends up turning on them during the big finale fight, and ends up helping Tori, and then tells Sam to go help her brother, and that her and Tori will fight that girl. And then Dimitri, he also left Cobra Kai pretty early on. He only even went in there because Hawk and Miguel, but he left because he didn't like what they were all about. Um, So they never got manipulated either. And but you do have to give up to Dimitri for one thing that not even Robby could do, which is the fact that Cobra Kai unleashes the anger you have inside of you. I mean, everyone was subject to that. Like, I swear almost every character really was subject to that at one point or another. Even Sam, who was never actually in Cobra Kai, she did learn from Johnny at one point. Even her, she got that anger unleashed and let that anger control her for a short while. Um, but Dimitri never did because he never had that anger. He had every reason to, just like Hawk. He was also bullied, but he never cared enough, and he let that anger kind of just wash over him, like a river over stone. From Was that from Kung Fu Panda? I think that might be from Kung Fu Panda. I know it's from a movie. I'm pretty sure Kung Fu Panda. No, I might be wrong. Tell me what that's from because I could like hear it, but I can't necessarily see it, and I think it's from Kung Fu Panda because it sounds like something from Kung Fu Panda. But also, I think I'm wrong. Like a river over stone. I know that from somewhere. That's gonna bother me until I figure out where that's from. Anyways, moving on. He never really had that anger inside him, so we have to give him props for that because Cobra Kai could never get to him because he never had that anger at all. Because that's what Cobra Kai uses, the anger that's inside of you. But then they don't teach you how to control that anger, and the anger ends up controlling you. Which, like I said, even Robby was subject to that at one point. But you also got to give it to Robby because as soon as that happened, he left, no problems asked. He didn't have issues leaving like Tori or Miguel or Hawk. Um, but yeah. I think Robby's one of the best fighters, and I don't think he gets his due amount. Um, like, I don't care what anyone says, he would have won that fight with Miguel if Hawk didn't hurt his shoulder from that illegal kick, and then Miguel didn't keep, um, going after the shoulder and played, fair. I think he would have won, no doubt. Um, and I hope he wins the fight in season 5. I don't know what the fight, or season 6. I don't know what the fight's gonna be about, but I hope he wins because he deserves it. Um, But I also have to say something that may or may not be controversial, but he should not be blamed for the school fight and what happened with Miguel. I'm sorry. Yes, he went a little overboard, don't get me wrong, and yes, he shouldn't have let his anger get that control of him, but what Miguel was doing was beyond wrong. He was taunting him. He knows he has issues with his dad and the fact that his dad has chosen Miguel over him time and time again, and the fact that he kissed his girlfriend. Now, that's just messed up. Okay? It is. I don't care what anyone says. And also, he was trying to stop the fight. The fight would have ended before anything got too bad. Like literally, Tori and Sam got a few hits before he was about to stop the fight, and then Miguel attacks him. Yeah, I get that he thought he was hurting Tori, but again, communication, people. I mean, Robby was subject. Robby was that kind of happened again with the prom fight. This time it was Robby's fault. Robby should have not realized that he was trying to hurt Tori. He was trying to break up the fight, so he ended up doing the exact same thing. But school fight, I still don't think Robby should be blamed. Like, yeah, like I said, he did go a little bit overboard. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, he was trying to stop the fight. And then what Miguel was doing was beyond wrong. Which then again, Robby did end up doing that with uh Miguel during the prom fight as well. It was kind of like reversed. This time Robby was the instigator, and but during the school fight, I'm sorry, Miguel was, and I think Miguel should be blamed for his actions during it, 100%. And Robby gets the sole point of the blame, and I don't think that's right. I just think Robby and Tori have more respect and trust between them than Sam and Miguel ever did. I feel like Sam and Miguel, like they're hardly ever together without getting into a serious fight or breakup. And Robby and Tori, they only broke up once, and that was because Robby couldn't handle the Cobra Kai thing anymore, which after everything Robby's been through, fair. Um, I absolutely love Robby's speech to Taylor Silver. Like, once again, he's like literally the only person that's not afraid of him. Like, at all. I didn't even think, I mean, even Johnny and Daniel is a little bit afraid of him. Robby really isn't. Like, Robby went to Cobra Kai and flat out said, I should have left. I should have taken all of you with me. And then goes face to face with Terry Silver, not backing down, not flinching, and just unafraid. Like, just iconic. I'm sorry. I'm a Robby girly, and I don't trust anyone who just doesn't like Robby. Okay, if he's not your favorite character, fine, fair, but anyone who doesn't like him, I do not trust because he's just amazing. He is tough, he is strong, he is sweet, he is kind, and he's been through so much. Um, honestly, but I'm glad that Robby and Johnny are now getting along and stuff, but I still think Johnny hasn't earned it. And I love what Robby says to Johnny, and I love how he's letting go of that hate and the anger that has held him down for so long. Like, great, I'm so happy for Robby. He more than deserves that. But forgiving someone for your own self, to release your own anger and hatred, doesn't necessarily mean that you want a relationship with them. And I think before they explored the two of them actually getting close, they should have um, actually had Johnny truly earn Robby's forgiveness and actually try, because I feel like so much of the relationship is about Robby giving more than Johnny. And I'm sorry, but Johnny doesn't deserve Robby's forgiveness. I get that Robby was doing it for himself, which fair. Robby deserves it. But at the same time, I don't think the two of them should necessarily be getting as close as they are until Johnny has earned it, because I don't think he has. And I want more of Robby and Daniel because I absolutely love their relationship. Daniel was more of a dad to Robby than Johnny ever was, and then Robby was mad at Daniel. It wasn't Daniel's fault. He really was trying to help Robby, but at the same time, I get why Robby was angry. He felt like everyone betrayed him. Everyone turned their backs on him. Johnny, he always does. Sam, um, and then Daniel turns him, and I think he was just feeling like everybody turned their backs on him, and he was just angry. And like that's around the time he decides to join Cobra Kai, anyways. And at that point, because he was just so angry at everybody. But then I love what he said to Daniel when they finally talked again in season 5, and he was like, uh, "You gave me a home, this and that." And it was just really sweet. But I really want more of them in season 6, just because I loved their relationship in the first couple of seasons, and I really don't want them to just completely forget about their relationship just because him and Johnny are close again. Even though like I said, I don't think they should have gone close, not yet. Anyways, I still think Johnny should have earned it before they did. But that's just me. I don't know if anyone else agrees with that. But it's like on Grey's Anatomy, for those of you that have seen it. After um, Maggie was introduced, they didn't have as many scenes of Richard and Meredith, except for every so often. I know Richard risked a lot during Meredith's trial and stood by her, but other than that, that's of course I've only seen the later seasons like once for the most part, except for a few episodes here and there, just because later seasons aren't as good. Um, but I just felt like they stopped really showing Meredith and Richard's relationship because now Richard has met his biological daughter, and now they're focusing. And I get them focusing on it at first, but I still think there should be scenes with Richard and Meredith showing their relationship because Richard had become like a dad to Meredith, and the two of them love each other. And I don't like that they kind of forgot about their relationship to focus on um, Richard's relationship with Maggie, and I feel like it's the same thing. They shouldn't forget Robby and Daniel's relationship because Daniel was better than to Robby than Johnny ever was, just because Robby's in a good place with Johnny now. I also love how close Robby and Miguel have gone, and Tori and Sam seem to be on a good page now, so maybe we'll get to see that in the next season. But I just love how Robby and Miguel kept defending each other and stuff in the last several episodes of season 5. That was just awesome. But in the season 5 finale, one thing I loved during that fight was, if you pay attention, I don't know how many people actually noticed this, but I did. If you pay attention during Robby's fight with Kenny, and then when a couple other guys come and start beating him, and then Miguel has to jump in to save him, if you pay attention and look around and not just focus on Robby's fight, everyone else is fighting one-on-one. But literally, like 3 or 4 guys go after Robby at the same time, and I think it's because they know it to win, they really need to bring down Robby, who's one of the best fighters. Uh, but that's just me. I loved in the finale when Robby and Tori got back together. I love, like I said, they're my favorite ship, and Um, I actually plan to do a top 10 Robby scenes in the top 10 Robby and Tori scenes, but I'm probably gonna wait until after season 6 comes out just so I can add those scenes because I'm sure there's gonna be amazing Robby and Tori scenes, especially since Robby and Tori don't really get together until later on, so there's not as many scenes of them, but I still think they're the best ship for real. I mean, like I keep trying to remember because I said something to my mom that proved why I thought Robby and Tori were better than Sam and Miguel, but now I can't remember what it is. It's like on the tip of my tongue, but I had like actual point about it, and now I don't remember because that was a while ago. Should have filmed this video sooner, but oh well. But I love the fights. I love the school fights. It's such an iconic scene and so insane and just so amazing. I also love the house fight. My favorite part of that scene is when Hawk switches over. He's like looking at everything, and everything people have been saying it goes through his head, and then he switches sides. It's just so powerful, and I absolutely love it. Um, and then I obviously love the season 5 finale where they're all fighting Cobra Kai. I think that one is a little bit more underrated. I don't really hear people talk about it that much, or maybe that's just because it's from the newer season, or maybe it's just because I'm new to the Cobra Kai fandom. Um, but yeah, um, but I absolutely love Robby and Tori. I just wanted to gush about them a little bit. I cannot wait to see where Robby's character goes and Robby and Tori's relationship, especially now that they're back together. And I I don't know what everyone's favorite Robby and Tori scenes are. I'm trying to think of what mine might be. I love their dance and their fights with Sam and Miguel, obviously, and I absolutely love the scene when they get back together. So good. I also love their first kiss in the prom episode. Um, and I just feel like Robbie's just that scene. I see it all the time from that one Taylor Swift song where it's like in a world of boys he's a gentleman. Like I see it all over TikTok. So many people use that line for like edits talking about like they're the one boy in the fandom that's more than just a boy like all the others, um and I they feel like it can be used with Robbie like for real uh like there was that one time when he asked Tori where she was working or whatever. He was just making conversation, and she was like, "None of your business." Then later on in the episode, she made a comment about having a bad day. He was like, "I'd ask, but it's none of my business." And the way Tori smiles, like I don't think anyone has ever made her smile like that. Like just nobody cared. But Robbie, he does care, like more so than anybody. I don't care what anyone says. It's the truth. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Sam and Miguel, but I do like Sam a little bit more than Miguel because I feel like um, she does have a good heart deep down. I feel like she did help Robby when he was homeless, which I absolutely love and stuff. And when her and Miguel kiss, when even though they were both dating Robby and Tori, I feel like I feel like Miguel didn't care if that hurt Tori. Like he was more upset. He was just trying to stop the fight or get to the girls or whatever um in the school. But then after he wakes up in his coma, he never tries to go to Tori. Tori has to go to him, and he doesn't seem sympathetic at all, despite the fact that he hurt her. Okay, he doesn't. But Sam, she truly did care about Robby, and she had real feelings for Robby before she found out Miguel was with Tori, and then she started getting jealous, and then all that. She had real feelings for Robby. I believe that. I don't think Miguel ever had real feelings for Tori. I think he was just with her because he didn't think he had another shot with Sam. I'm not gonna lie. He never seemed like he actually cared about her. Um, and then it only proves my point when he cheated and he didn't even seem to care what it did to her. And um, Sam, on the other hand, when Tori made a comment about it, and then she looks over to Robby and she looks genuinely upset because she never meant to hurt him because she knows he's such a good guy. And then um, later on, she does go talk to him. I do think that was a little bit selfish because I feel like part of her did it because she didn't want him to join Cobra Kai. Um, but I also think part of her did do it because she did genuinely care about him. And I feel like she genuinely was upset that she hurt him so much because she genuinely cared about him. I just feel like Miguel didn't genuinely care about Tori. Um, but yeah. But I can go on and on about my issues with Miguel and even Sam a little bit. Um, and why Robby and Tori are just superior. But thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on Cobra Kai, and I'll chat with you below in the comments. Until next time.